Hey guys, thanks for watching. Oh no. Okay, I'm gonna take some of this gook right here and I'm going to stick it. Trying to see how I can see this. Now I'm putting like a lot. That's like way too much. Don't need to put anywhere near that, and it's not bad, you know. If I put too much, it's just more cleanup I got to do. So I just want it just around the face of the valve right there, like that. Okay. And I got this block of wood under here holding this thing up. So now I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna stick it in there. Push it down, just like that. This side over here, I don't know if you can even see this. And get this thing close enough. So right there, oops, push the thing back down. Right there is the valve stem poking out. And I'm gonna take this drill, I'm gonna lie it down, I'm gonna hold the valve in place. And I'm just going to push this rubber tube onto the end of the valve stem like that. Not a whole lot. And then I'm going to turn it. And I'm going to keep moving it back and forth like this. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all it takes. And pull this thing off of there without cutting myself. Push this in, pull the valve out. That's what it looks like. When it's done, I grab a rag. Okay, clean this off with a rag. And then we inspect. So you want to inspect this area right there, that part of the valve. I'm going to spin it all the way around, and if there's any part that it didn't touch, then it wouldn't have that lighter color. It would be dark like the rest of the valve. So that would show you that there's an area in it that it's not sealing, but this one's good all the way around. So let's look at the seat. So I mean, the seat's the same way. It's got all that stuff on it, so I need to go in here and clean it up. Just try and clean all this stuff up, and you can see all around it there's not an area that it didn't seal. So that's all we want. We just want to make sure that it's going to seal all the way around, that everything's good, and it is. So I'm going to go on and lap the rest of them. I'm going to lap all of the intake valves, and then I'll come back and lap all the. I'll turn it the other way. Well, I might leave it like this, and then I'll lap all the exhaust valves, and then we can start putting them in. Here's my fake cylinder head. It's got all these valves in it. So yeah, I'm gonna just start knocking this out. So I got all the valves lapped in, and I got everything cleaned up and stuff. I'm ready to put the valve seals in. So as far as these valves go, these exhaust valves are pitted Of course, you know, they're always pitted. This one right here is probably the best one. So, I mean, it's not too bad. I don't know if you can see that. There's pits in there. And yeah, I mean, that's just the way it is. This is what we have to work with. The KIA gives us to work with. This one over here, this is probably the worst one. And I don't know if you can even see how those pits are. I would like to grind these valves. I used to do valve jobs for GM. I had a valve grinding machine in my old valve grinding machine. I love that machine. It was great. And I would actually grind these a little bit, but they don't really need it. They're not that bad. I mean, those will work perfectly fine. They work perfectly fine in the other engine, and you know, I don't even know what was wrong with that engine. No knocking, nothing. I don't know. So anyway, we're gonna put these in. We're gonna put these valve seals in. I got these valve seals right here, and valve seal installer. Hello. I just grabbed the thing. What did I do with it? Now I need to find a valve seal installer. Oh, hello, sitting right here. There's a tool number for the valve seal installer. It holds the valve. We stick the valve in, we pop it in there. These valves, let me pull one of these out. So, intake valves, exhaust valves, they all get the same seal. So, that's it. This thing is going to fit right on there like that, and of course it doesn't stay in. Of course, it's supposed to stay in. Why doesn't it stay in? So we're just gonna knock these in with a hammer and get all these valves put in. Our valve stem seals. See, stick it down. Yeah, it's not gonna stay on the thing, so I'm gonna just kind of straighten it out like that. Make sure it's straight. Find my hammer. Where did my hammer go? Okay. Just gonna hold it straight in the bore like that and just like that. And we're gonna do that to all of them and just get all these valve stem seals in so that we can get the valves in and get the springs on, and then go from there. Have all the valve stem seals in, both sides. So this is how this works. So we got this exhaust valve. We'll start with this one exhaust valve. And I'm gonna stick it in place. Now that we got the valve stem seal in, let's see up in there. Where's the hole? It'll stay up in there now. So there it is right there. I'm gonna grab the spring for it. Here's the spring. I'm gonna grab a couple of keepers. Got 2 keepers. I'm gonna stick those in here the right way. So let's see. So they're like that. All right, they're tapered, just in case you didn't see that. So they have this edge right here. It's tapered. It's thicker on top, thinner on the bottom. So it's like a cone. When you put them together, it's like a cone. So anyway, so I'm going to take this with those keepers in there, and I'm going to stick it down on top of the valve that it belongs to, right there. And get this tool right here. This is the one that we used to take the keepers off yesterday, smacking it with a hammer. Let's see if I can stick this on there. That's okay, just like that. And I'm going to grab a rag. This table is a little bit taller than what a normal workbench would be, and it's because it's a teardown table, and helps keep back fatigue, you know, at a minimum. But I'm gonna have to push down on this. Hopefully it's not too tall for me. I might have to get a stepping stool. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stick that thing right down there in the middle, grab this, and I just use the rag to just like as a cushion for my hand, and I'm just gonna push it down. Nope, I need to get a stepping stool. Just cannot get the leverage standing on the ground. I need to be taller. Okay, now I'm way too tall. So I'm gonna push into this. I'm gonna push it until it clicks down like that, and then there it is. It's in there. Just like that. So that is what I am doing. I am going to do that to all of these. I'm gonna get all the valves in. One side, I'll finish the rest of this side. I'll get all the valves in. I'm gonna put all of the springs with the keepers in them in place, and then I'm just gonna go with this thing right here. I'm gonna go all the way down, and they'll all be on. And then I'll spin it around. I'll do the other thing on the other side. So let's go. All right, now that I got all the valves in, and valves, springs, valves, stem seals, the keepers, everything's together. So what I want to do is I'm going to go to each valve, and just on the top of the valve, just going to lightly just tap. And it's kind of popping the valve open a little bit, but it's making sure that these keepers are seated and they're not going to pop out, which I can tell they're all in, but it's just, you know, precaution just to make sure. And I get this thing up off the table with this special block of wood here, just to keep the valve from smacking the table. You know, I mean, smacked the table a couple times already getting the thing put together. The least the better. But I mean, we're not doing any kind of big smacking that's going to bend a valve or anything. But I mean, you know, why take a chance? Oop, come on. I don't have to do this. I'm sure they're all perfectly fine, but it's just to make absolutely sure. That is it. So now we can get all our keepers on. So now keepers are, yeah, so these tappets. So I am going to kind of clean these up a little bit. I mean, they just got a hole on them, no big deal. And just stick them in like that because we got no oil in this bore. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the paper, find out which ones go where, stick them in place. Then we need to clean up those camshafts and get those camshafts torqued down so we can do our inspection for our adjustment. So let me start doing that right now. have the camshafts right here, exhaust cam, intake cam. I've cleaned them all up, I sprayed them all out. You know, camshafts are hollow. Gotta clean it all out, make sure I ain't got any debris in it. And this, I'm gonna pre-lube this just a little bit. Put a little bit of pre-lube on there. This is oil supplement that I'm just using as a pre-lube. Yeah, it's kind of like BG's MOA oil supplement, that kind of stuff. Not that big of a deal. Stick these in here. I still need to deal with the bearing that goes right here. We are going to do the valve lash inspection first, and then what I'm going to do, since we don't have these bearings in stock, I'm going to take that bearing, which is perfectly fine, stick it in here. I'm going to use some plastic gauge, and I'm going to check the clearance, and I'll show you how we do that. So right now, stick this in place, and I need to put the caps on here and just torque everything down. And let me see what we got. So these caps, of course, you can't get them mixed up on the head, because then you're gonna end up munching your cam and stuff like that. So this right here, 5, 7, wow, look at that. Okay. This is E1, E2, I don't know if you can read that, E3 right there, E4. This is the exhaust cam, so E2, 3, yeah, so E1 goes right here, 2, 3, 4, arrows pointing in. Let's see what this one looks like. This is the intake side. Yep, I got I1, I2, I3, I4, and the arrows are going to be pointing in. Stick these in place. I need to go and get the spec, find out what the spec is for torquing these down. We're going to be putting them on, taking them off a couple of times. If our tappets are too large, then we can't get a clearance at all. If they're like way too tight, then we are going to have to take the camshaft off and get another tappet that's smaller and doesn't have as thick of a shim in it, and put it in there, tighten the thing back down, and then check the clearance on that. So we get the spec on this, and we will torque these down. Okay, I have a bunch of specs. I looked up a bunch of specs and everything. So I'm going to tighten. I snugged these down. I didn't tighten them. I snugged them down just so I wouldn't have to keep turning and turning and turning with the torque wrench. So the way that these are tightened down is there's 3 groups. This is group A. This cover right here is group B, and then group C is all of these and those. That's group C. So you want to tighten up in group A, group B, and then group C. You could start here and go this way, or you could start here and go this way. I'll probably go here, then here. It's the A and B, and then for C, I'll probably do these, then those, then those. And there is 2 different tightening. So the first one is we're looking at 5.9 Newton meters. So I have stuff written down in a different way just because of the way this thing is. Yeah, it's weird to try and figure out Newton meters in this thing, because you got to go by these numbers right here and then add them to the numbers that are on the bottom, which you probably can't even see. This is an old torque wrench, but it works really good, and I use it only for this type of stuff. So let's start. So we're going to start. I need 3.6 plus 10 is the way I write it down. So put that somewhere. 3.6 plus 10. So bring it over. I'm looking at 0 and Newton meters versus inch pounds. So Let me back up so I can see a 3.6, move it to 10, and I've already taken my shoes off and done the math, and I put them back on, so I don't want to have to take them off again. So right here, group A, torque these down really quick. And then we have to go to group B. Group B is the M8. Yeah, the M8 is 14.7 is a total amount. 14.7 newton meters for step one. I'm looking at 13.78 plus 1 on my meter here. 13.78, 13.78 is right there. Turn this thing a couple times. Where am I? 13.78. It's 13.78 plus 1, right there. And it is a, what did I do with my socket now? Okay, I just had the socket in my hand. Okay, let me find that. Okay, I got the socket. So, tighten these down. This is just step one. Okay, now I need to go back to the 3.6 plus 10. We're at 0 there, all the way down. Yes, it's a tedious process. Okay, that's 3.6 plus 10. Switch my socket from the 12 millimeter to the 10 millimeter, and I'm going right here. And this is not very much. He's got one more pass. And then these back here. That is the sequence we are going with. Okay, now we need to move up. The next one is, we're looking at 10.8 to 12.7 millimeter, newton meters, and I'm looking at 10.39 plus 6 on this thing. Okay. Where is 0? Right there, 10.39. This 10.39. One more. 10.39 plus 10. Right there. Make sure I'm looking at the right thing. No, I'm not. I'm not looking at the right thing. Because I thought that sounded familiar. Okay, so I'm looking for 13.78. Okay, let's back up. We're looking for M6, 10.7 to 12.7 newton meters, 13.78 plus 1. That doesn't make it, no, I'm right, 10.39, 10.39. Okay, we'll get it, 10.39, because we're on the second pass. So, I'm not sure I might have put 10.39 on those. Either way, it was the first pass, doesn't really matter. It's going to be changed right now. And this one right here, the maximum torque is 31.3 to 35.3 newton meters. And this torque wrench will not go up that high. So, got to bring this big boy in, which is kind of scary. And this one, I can set it directly to newton meters, and it is set at 34 newton meters. That's what we need. Let's look at the spec again. It is 31.3 to 35.3. I'll set it at 34 newton meters, and we got these 4 up here. That is a lot. I mean, it just feels like a lot with this big old torque wrench. It's unbelievable. So I'm at 31. I didn't hear it beep. I got 33.2. Did it beep? I didn't hear it. Let me just double check this. It's 22.6 Newton meters. I need 31 to 35.3 Newton meters for step 2 on the M8. This is the M8. That beeped. What is this at? 31. It's not tightening. I'm not going to strip that out. These bolts are stretching down. Yeah, I didn't hear that beep either. Yeah, I mean, this stupid thing's not beeping. There it is again. I'm getting a red. That says 33. Just close enough. Anyway, okay. So these are all tightened down. Now we can go ahead and check the wait, these are not tightened down. Let's go back to the other ones. Tighten these down. This is already set. Come on, tighten up, tighten up, tighten up. Okay, that's done with this. Zero this out. Always zero out your torque wrenches, guys. Whenever you're done with them, zero them out. And I kind of like to wipe mine down from fingerprints. This is really old, but it's still really good. I'll set this aside, and now we're going to get. We're gonna start checking our valve clearance, and hopefully, I don't know, that seems tight, and that one's turning. This one not so much. Oh my God! I hope we don't have any that are too tight. And they all seem kind of, yeah. So we'll see. Okay, here is the spec on the clearance. So right here, and I know y'all can't see it, I'll just read it to you. So it says that the actual spec is on the intake side is 0.17 to 0.23 millimeters, and on the exhaust side is 0.32 to 0.38 millimeters. That's the thickness. That is the space between the lobe that is on the neutral side down there. Like this one is where the lobe is pointing up. So the difference between the lobe and the lash, manual lash adjuster is what Kia calls them. It's the tappet lifter. But what we're going to be shooting for is 0.1 to 0.3 millimeters on the intake side, and 0.2 to 0.4. And we're going to write down what we have right here next to the tappet size tappet lifter, front of the engine, intake, exhaust. And then we can go back and do the math. So how are we going to check this? So on the intake side, let's just take the intake side. We're looking at 0.1 to 0.3 millimeters. So I got this right here. These filler gauge set. This is a Blue Point filler gauge set. Look at that. It says KIA Motors. Got that for being a good boy in class. Okay, so I'm looking at right here is 0.152. And y'all probably can't read that. This is 0.152 all the way down. This is like 0.178, 0.203, 0.229, 0.254, 0.279, 0.305. So like between here and here, these are all within spec. I'm guessing we're not going to get a lot in here, and we may have to pull some more out. If the thing is too tight, this is the smallest. 0.152 is the smallest that this set will go. I have this one right here, this old timer, and this will go all the way down to 0.038 if we need. Look at that. So just so we can get a reading on it, and we need to at least get a reading on it. So let me set this up. So this is intake side. Let me turn this around. Let me set it up, and I'll show you how we can check this. Okay, what you're looking at is, this is the intake camshaft. So these lobes right here are almost straight up. They're shooting up. These lobes right here are pointed this way. What we want to make sure of is that the lobes are not down, pushing down. We don't want it to be opening a valve. So we're just going to start on the intake. And I'm going to take, let's say we want to go from 2 to 3 millimeters. I'm going to take this one as 0.203, and I'm going to try to stick this flat in there, and it's like no problem. I got no drag at all. No drag at all there. I got no drag there, no drag there, nothing. Okay, so I need to go thicker. So there, I mean, I couldn't feel anything there at all. I'm going to jump all the way up to 3. I'm expecting that it's out of spec for sure. So this is 0.305. Let's stick that in there, and nope, it won't go in. Okay, won't go in that one either. Nope, nope, we may be in spec on this one. Okay, so let's come back down. This, where am I? Let's go down a couple. We're gonna go to 0.254. 0.254. That's got drag there. Definitely drag. Yep, I mean that feels good. This one a little loose. This one's definitely looser. Let's go to 0.279. Won't fit. Won't fit. Won't fit. This one, it fits. Okay, so let's stop there. So we're at 2. Let's go back. .254. Okay. Drag there. I may have skipped one. Okay. 254. What is the next one in line? But 254 was 279. Yeah, 279 was too big. 279 was too big. 254. So 254 on number 1. 254 on number 2. 254 seems big on number 3. Nope. Number 3. Okay, well, our number 4 we'll deal with. Okay, so 254 on 1, 2, and 3. So I'm going to write that down. And on number 3, it's kind of loose. So 254 on number 3, this feels loose. This one, it's got good drag. So this one's got good drag, that one's got good drag. This one feels loose. So it's 0.254. So I'm gonna write 0.254 by the first 3 And on the third one, I'm gonna put 0.254 with an L, reminding me that that one was loose, a little loose. So let's see what this one is at. Okay, so 279 fits, but it still feels loose. So let's go to the next one, which is 305. Okay, 305 doesn't fit, and we already tried that before. What's between 279 and 305? And nothing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 0.279 for that one. Get the clipboard. 0.279, 279, and I'm gonna put XL for extra loose, so that I know that that one was extra loose, and that it's gonna come into play later on whenever we order the shims or the tappets. All right, now that we've checked these four right here, we need to check these four. This lobe right here is too far down. Even if it's not pushing on it, I think that it may be a little bit. I can't get the thing in there. I could go this way. This was a little bit harder because we're angled like this, and these lobes are definitely pushing down. So I need to turn the crank or camshaft, and of course I don't have a wrench this big, so I'm going to attempt to use this pair of channel locks. Right here this is meant to be the area to grab it with a pair of pliers, or basically you're supposed to use a wrench. Just don't have a wrench that big. So just be careful not to get a rag or something stuck underneath it into a valve or anything like that. Make sure that this is locked in place. Now we can check these right here. So let's check these. Let's just let's jump to the 3. Oh, the 3, yeah, close these up. For the smallest 3 that I have, which should be a 0.03, oh, wait, no, 0.3, where is it? That's not it, that's 0.33, come on. 0.305, okay, my God, too tight. That has no drag, too tight, okay, that's kind of a good thing. Okay, so let's go back to 0.279, 0.279, it's got drag, it's kind of loose, 279, it's kind of loose. Okay, so there's nothing between 279 and 305. So that's what really sucks. So there's drag right here. And you want to feel a good drag. It's not going to slide in easy and come out, but you don't want to have to shove it in there. So you want to get a good drag on it. That's got good drag. This one's loose. That one's way loose. That one's way loose. So these two right here, I would say is at 0.279. Loose. Loose, it has drag, but it's loose. 305 does not fit in either of them. So 0.279 loose. And just check again. Yeah, 0.279 loose. Want to make sure that we get this right for sure. 0.279L, 0.279L. The looseness and extra loose and if it's tight or whatever is not going to change our math, but what it will do is change, possibly make a little bit different decision when it comes to which tappet we actually order, and we'll get into that. So the 279 was too loose. 305 and these, did it work? Okay, this goes in no problem. This one, it fits. It's a little bit too much drag. right there. I would say it's too much. I can drag it in and out. I can fit it in, but I'm gonna go with this one as a 305 tight. And the next one up would be a 0.330, which that's a pretty big jump. 0.330, 0.305 to 0.330. Yeah, that's the next one. Okay, so this is going to be 305. I think I'll put extra tight, and this one 305 extra loose. And that's just the best that we can do. So 0.305 extra loose, 0.305 extra loose. This one 0.305 extra tight, 0.305 extra tight. And there's going to be enough clearance. There's going to be enough tolerance that, you know, we should, you know, be able to get the stuff done that we want to get done, you know. So you see how this works. And I'm going to do the same thing on this exhaust side over here. The only difference is the spec. So the spec for the exhaust side is 0.2 to 0.4 millimeters rather than 0.1 to 0.3 millimeters. So I'm going to do the exact same thing on the exhaust side. I'm going to get all these numbers, and then we'll go over the math. Yeah, let me get that done and we'll see what happens. Okay, so now we're here in a quiet place where we can do some math. So these are the numbers that we got, right? They're not bad. As a matter of fact, if you look at this, 0.1 to 0.3 millimeter is the specification we're looking at, right? So 0.254 is between that. So that should be good. Same thing here. That's good. 0.279 is between 0.1 and 0.3, and you know, all the way down, when we get down here is 0.305, 0.305, those are bigger. But the actual spec, and I don't know why they do this, for the intake is 0.17. I don't know if y'all can even see that, 0.17 to 0.23, which would make these be out. This is more than 0.23, more than 0.23. They're all out. So if we do the math, let's see. Get my calculator here. Okay, let me turn this off. I don't even know if y'all can see the screen. So let me. Yeah, I know it's flickering everywhere. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to take the thickness of the removed tappet. So let's just start with this one. Thickness of the removed tappet is going to be 0.180, because it's actually 3.180, but we're disregarding the 3. So 0.180, that's the thickness of the tappet. And we want to plus the measured clearance. So we're basically adding these together. From the 0.180 to 0.3, okay, 0.30305. Okay, so we take the thickness of the removed tappet and we add in the measured value, and then we subtract basically the spec is so minus 0.2, and that equals 2.85. Right, so what I would do is right here I'm going to write 0.285 is the new tappet we're looking for. So let's do the math. Let's reverse this. Let's make absolutely sure. So we're going to take the tappet. What is it? How does it go? You're going to take the 0.285 and we are going to add that to plus 0.180 minus the measurement that we got, which is 0.305 equals 0.16. I don't think that's exactly the way it's supposed to go, but 0.16 is within our spec right here. So 0.1 to 0.3. It's actually 0.17 to 0.23. That tolerance is really tight. So that's pretty much the way that you do it. And of course, in the intake side, we're doing the tappet thickness plus the measured valve clearance, and we're subtracting 0.2, and for the exhaust side we're going to be subtracting 0.3. That's the only difference, and that will get us all the numbers that we need. And so I'm going to sit here and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to go over these. I'm going to double, triple check them, and then once that happens, then we need to run over to parts department and get those ordered. Our cutoff time is 3 o'clock. It is like 1 o'clock right now, believe it or not. It's already 1 o'clock. So yeah, let me get that done so we can get these ordered, and then we have these tappets come in tomorrow, and then we can move on to something else. So let's see what we come up with. All right, these are the numbers that we're looking at. Okay, these are tappets. These are, let's see if I can get this stupid light. Okay, that's a little bit better. Okay, so these are tappets. These are part numbers for tappets. And the sizes they come in. So these are the sizes. It starts at 3.0, right? And it moves on further and further and further. So what we need to do is look, for instance, this is exhaust side. We're looking to go from a 315.315 to a 0.345. So we want to look for a 3.45. Well, wait a second. Okay, that's 0.2. We're looking at 345.34. Okay, there's a 0.345 right there. Okay, so that one is perfect, and I didn't write tight or loose or anything like that on it. So 345, that's what we're going to order. On this one, we're looking at a 335.335, and I got extra loose on there. So let's look at a 0.335. So there is no 0.335. There's a 0.330. There's a 0.345. So we need to figure out what are we going to do. We don't have a 335. So I wrote on here that it's extra loose. So we could go from instead of if I go to a 0.330 and I don't have a 0.335, then it's going to be even looser. So I'll probably go to the 0.345. So that's where this comes into place, and this is extra loose, so I feel a little bit better about going at a 0.345. I can even do the math with a 0.345 and see how close or how far out of tolerance it'll be, and I'll probably do that just to be sure before I order them. So I'm going to go through all of these, and I'm going to look through here, and I'm going to figure out which ones of these I need to order and what the part numbers are, and I will go to the parts department and tell them to order them, and then we will be getting those tomorrow. Okay, this is what I'm going with. These ones in the center here, 345, 345, 330. And a couple of them I had to do a little bit of calculations, a little bit of guessing. It's a gamble on some of them. So these are the ones that I'm ordering. This many of each of those, like that. So I can count them all out. I got 16 tappet lifters. I'm going to go ahead and get these ordered. So one thing that you want to absolutely make sure of if you're doing something like this, and you're trying to decide, I don't want to gamble on, I just want the vehicle to run properly. So you can always go loose. So you can always get a little bit excessive valve clearance, but you cannot go tight. Okay, loose If valve clearance is too loose, you may have a little bit of tapping. And this, I've never actually heard one of these, you know, tap. But if you go too loose on your valve clearance, then you might possibly have some tapping in your valve train. But if you go tight, it won't run. Yeah, if it goes tight, the valve won't close, you won't build up compression, and the engine won't start. Or you'll have one cylinder that has a dead misfire because there's no compression because the valve is hanging open because you went too tight on your valve clearance. So do not go too tight. You want to make sure that the valve is actually going to close. A little bit loose is okay. A little bit of tapping is better than not running. So let me run over to the parts department and get this stuff ordered really quick, and then we'll move on. Okay, I forgot about this bearing right here. I need to measure that, and it's 3 o'clock. It's coming quick, and I need to get this. If we need to order this, hopefully we don't. Hopefully this is fine. I am going to use the old bearing because it looks perfectly fine. So that is the upper. I don't know if you can see that. I mean, it looks perfectly fine. And this is the lower. Wipe it out. So we're gonna check the clearance on this and get this thing into place right where it belongs. Where's my hammer? That is not the hammer I'm looking for. Where's my brass hammer? Because I'm trying not to break anything. Just gonna tap this down just a little bit. Okay. This other one. This goes on like this right here. Make sure that's clean. It's got this little pin that fits right in that hole so you can get it aligned in the right spot and it won't spin, hopefully. Keep them from spinning. All right. Now, the spec on this is, what's the spec? Okay, it's a number 1 for exhaust is 0.004 to 0.036 millimeters. I have this. This is plastic gauge. Have you ever seen plastic gauge before? Hopefully this is the right size. This side is millimeters. This is 0.025, 0.038, 0.051, 0.076. So that's its tolerance. What is its tolerance? Is 0.025 to 0.076 millimeters. I hope this is the right stuff. 0.004, which is a lot lower than this. So yeah, we'll have to figure it out. 0.036 is the most amount of space. This goes to 0.025, so hopefully it should be within that. And so this is how this works. This is a small piece of plastic. Looks like a hair, like a thick hair. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this small piece of plastic, I'm going to cut off a piece, break a piece off, and I'm just going to lay it across. Actually, you know what? The clearance is going to be the same no matter what. So what I'm going to do, stick this into place. We just got these 3 that we need to go across, and I'm going to put it on the top right there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tighten all of these down, stick this on here, tighten it down, take it back off, and see how much that smashed down. And the thickness of that smash we can try and match up in here. Let's see, that's inches, this is millimeters. We're trying to match up the thickness here, and it'll tell you what the clearance is. So that's So I'm gonna do this right now real quick, and we'll see what happens. Okay, let's see what we got here. Pull this straight up. And you can see right in those spots how it has smashed that plastic into like a very thin, flat area of plastic. So the thickness of that plastic, the thicker that it is, the less clearance there is, the more push it's had. So we can take this, see, this is the millimeter side, and what I'm going to try and do is match this up as close as I can with that. So that, from my eyeball, looks like it's almost perfect to 0.025 millimeter. This one, it's a little bit thinner. That's 0.38. That's, yeah, 0.025. Let's see, what was the spec? The spec, where's my paper? 0.036 is the tightest, 0.036. So 0.004 to 0.036. So 0.004, yeah, so we're within that because we are at 0.025. Isn't that what I said? 0.02, no, 0.038. Wait, am I looking at the millimeter stuff? Now look at this again. What am I looking at? Get down in there. Come on. Get in there. What I say is 0.025, right? Yeah, the thickest. To me, it looks like that 0.025. I don't even know if y'all can see that. 0.025 is within 0.004 and 0.036. Yeah, so this is within spec. Okay, thank God. So all I'm gonna do is just clean this plastic gauge stuff. It's a real thin piece of plastic. Clean this off of here, clean this off of the camshaft, and this bearing right here we're gonna go with. So we don't need to order a bearing. That's what I was worried about. We needed to order this bearing, then we would not have time to check it out and then order it. So there's a really weird thing about this anyway. So just to let you know, thank God we didn't have to order one. So according to this right here, there are 3 different size bearings, and they call them exhaust camshaft, upper exhaust camshaft, lower standard size. So it's not telling me what the sizes are. It doesn't tell me what the size. I just have part numbers. That's all. The only difference is there are 3 different colors. So there should be a color strip on the end of the bearing, like right there or something. One is black, one is clear, and one is green. So depending on what you have, black, clear or green would depend on, and then you check the spec up against that, and then you decide if you need to go higher or you need to go lower. Of course, if you need to go lower and you're at the lowest one, then you need to replace the camshaft or maybe the cylinder head. Same way as the opposite way. And there's no information and service information that says anything about these bearings, anything at all. I mean, it just says take the bearing out, you know, whenever you're servicing this and, you know, checking the cams and all the specs and stuff, and put the bearing in before you put it back together. That's it. At least in the old books and stuff like that, they would tell you what black meant, what green meant, what clear meant. My guess is this is clear because I don't see any color on it. And so if we had to order one, which way would we go? Black or green? I mean, I don't know, because I don't know which one's bigger and which one's smaller. So we would have to order them both. And then we would hope that this one's actually clear. But what if this one's black, but the black wore off? And yeah. Anyway, so let me clean this up and let's move on from this. And we have a whole bunch of stuff we still need to do. So let's go. So I got bad news. So to start off with, there is a hole right here that takes a plug. There's a plug that's supposed to go in there. Here's the old head, and that is not coming out. That thing is stripped off. I'm not even gonna worry about it. I went ahead and ordered, and supposedly I got the order in before cutoff. They have them in Dallas, so I'll have it here tomorrow. The bad news is only a certain amount of the tappet lifters were in Dallas. The other ones are coming from Chicago and California, Georgia, and places like that, which means they're not going to be here tomorrow. Only some of them will. The good news is I got a ton of lifters of tappets right here. So these are tappets that are from jobs that we've done in the past. There's nothing wrong with them. You know, the only thing that matters is the distance between that right there and the distance between that inside there. And they got marks and everything on them, so we can look through this and see, you know, if we find the ones that we need. It's like, you know, looking for a handful of hay in a Seattle Space Needle. You know, what would you say? I don't know. I don't know. So we're gonna have to look through this. This is a different side. This is a different engine, and as you can see, these will fit inside of those. So there it is. Anyway, so we don't want to look through these. We want to look through these. So there's a bunch of them. So anyway, what I'm going to do right now is move on to this. Start messing with this. It's time to make a mess. I'm going to throw a couple of the old head bolts in here, grab this thing with a chain, disconnect it from the transmission, and pull it over there, turn it upside down, and make a big gigantic mess. And then we're going to pull the oil pan off. We need to clean that up. And what else do we need? We may need some other stuff. We have a new oil pump slash balance shaft module that has to be timed in. We got new timing chains and stuff like that. Heck, I have no idea. We may need this probably. This adapter, the oil cooler, maybe. We'll see what we got in boxes and stuff like that. And we're gonna bring out the new short block and look at it and see if it's, you know, all shiny new. It better be. So let me do that really quick right now. Let's pull this off, turn it over, and make a big mess. Let's go. Okay, so you tell me, does it look like this vehicle needs a new engine? I don't see anything. I mean, not even a sparkle of metal. Not even. I mean, nothing. This pan is clean. It's as clean as it can be, even up here on this tray. Anyway, this is the balance shaft assembly, also known as oil pump. I don't see anything in that pickup screen right there either. So I don't think there's too much more we're going to use from this. We need to replace the balance shaft assembly. We're going to be putting new bolts in because they're torque to yield. We're going to be replacing the timing chain, the timing chain tensioner. We're probably going to reuse this shoe and this guide right here. Probably going to be reusing this sprocket. So we need to get those off, and we'd probably need to get this off too. I am going to go clean this up and see how that looks. This looks like it's going to be perfect to clean up and put back on. Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't know. It looks perfectly fine to me. Like I said, the vehicle drove fine. I drove it. Drove fine. No noise, no knocking noise, no. I have no idea. Anyway, so let me get this cleaned up and we'll see what happens.